Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we are going to talk about one of the great unsolved mathematical problems of the situation in Ukraine and how the solution may have finally presented itself. It's one of those things where it was very hard to determine, but it didn't matter which side you were really on and how you felt about it. If your analysis was even remotely honest, you had to admit that either side could just be lying. But now we have a new piece of information that sheds a little bit more light on what might have been happening. So today we are going to talk about how H is for HIMARS. Okay, so HIMARS, it's a vehicle, it's a system. Picture it like a rocket launcher system on the back of a truck. The West provided Ukraine with a bunch of these. Not a whole bunch, but a few. And they have used them to great effect. They have just wreaked havoc on Russian forces. Now, Russia has repeatedly claimed that it has destroyed some of these. So much so that if you were to add them up, they have destroyed more than the West says that they sent. Which is, that can't have happened, right? Now at this point, you have to acknowledge that either side could have lied. The West could have said that they sent less than they did, so Russia wouldn't be looking for all of them. Totally in bounds for an information operation. Russia could be lying about how many they hit because it's good for morale because this is a feared weapon. Totally in bounds for an information operation. Most people believed that Russia was lying because of a briefing. And I will go ahead and tell you, this is a mistranslation. There was one instance in which a briefer was like, hey, we destroyed 41 or 44 HIMARS or something like that, and it's written behind them. It appears that they were talking about the number of rockets, not the number of launchers. But once that hit, social media, everybody's like, well, Russia's just making stuff up now. And the whole thing just kind of became a running joke. Anytime Russia said they blew one up, they were like, well, you already blew them all up, like more than twice. Because they had claimed to have destroyed so many more than were realistically sent, even if the U.S. and the West was lying about how many they sent. Okay, so there's a new piece of information. And we get to understand why these things have been coming back like Michael. There is a Czech company that makes inflatables of military vehicles. If you've never seen one of these things, picture it like a bouncy house, but it looks like a military vehicle. There's a fan inside of it with a power source, and it blows it up. It's the correct size. The more advanced ones, the power source and fan that sit inside, they actually mimic the heat signature of the real vehicle. And they're kind of a big deal. You put them out, and it confuses the opposition. This Czech company has acknowledged that sometime in the last year, they started producing HIMARS. So, Russia might not have been lying. That they very well may have hit these targets that they believed were HIMARS. But they were the inflatables. This is one of those moments where everybody could have been assumed to be lying, and it looks like everybody's telling the truth, at least to their perspective. If Russia targets something that looks like a HIMARS and destroys it, they are going to claim that it's a HIMARS even if it was an inflatable system. That appears to be what has happened. And this is being the the inflatables is being widely covered in Europe, so I don't feel like I'm letting anything out of the bag here. So this these systems, these inflatable systems, they're relatively inexpensive. They cost way less than the missile we use to destroy them. It also creates a situation where the opposition force is confident it has destroyed something that it may not have. And then you run into a situation like what is happening right now, where once it is discovered, then they become reluctant to actually fire on a perceived target because they don't want to look silly and blow up a balloon. These are really inexpensive and really effective tools, and it is now confirmed that not just are they being used, there are HIMARS versions that are being used in Ukraine right now. So that explains why Russia has destroyed, 172 of the 18 HIMARS that were sent, or whatever. I don't remember the exact numbers. But it clears that up. And it makes a whole lot more sense than anybody trying to run an information operation and being that off with the numbers. For an information operation to be successful, it has to be at least close to the truth. And these numbers were getting ridiculous on both sides. So this is kind of the only thing that explains what has happened and creates a situation where anything becomes plausible. So our most likely answer at this point to this, as of yet unsolved math problem is that Russia has blown up a whole bunch of bouncy house HIMARS. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.